So it's my delight to introduce to you Reverend Jean Phillips. I've known Jean for over 20 years. She is much younger than I am, and I'm just happy that she has been in my life. She was my practitioner one and practitioner two teacher in the First Church of, not First Church, Pacific Church of Religious Science in San Diego. So she also has been a hospice chaplain in San Diego for more than 15 years. And she heads the Compassionate Care Ministry at the Vision Center for Spiritual Living in San Diego. And she's just a longtime teacher of the science of mind. She has moved me and taken me into the deep connection to the divine. So it's really my pleasure to introduce her. And she's going to be talking about united heart to heart. And it ties into our monthly theme, cosmic connections. So I'm going to just turn it over without another word. Sit back and enjoy Reverend Jean. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jerry, Reverend Jerry. And yes, we do go a ways, don't we? And Alex, thank you. What a beautiful meditation and prayer. Very centering. It is, I'm just so grateful and honored to be connecting with you all here in this virtual world, coming to you from San Diego. And as Reverend Jerry said, our theme this month is cosmic connections. And today's topic is united heart to heart. So we're talking about oneness and connections. It's all about our hearts. Yeah. And you know, the truth is that our connection to spirit and our connection to each other are one and the same, right? We are one. We are one. Even in this time of social distancing and seeming separation from each other, we are one. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, "We are all parts of each other because the same God is in each one of us wearing a different face." The same God is in each one of us wearing a different face. I like how Mother Teresa put it. She said, God in all its distressing disguises. Yeah, it can be distressing at times, can't it? These disguises that we wear, these masks that can deceive us into forgetting our cosmic connection. Right? You know, in the science of mind, it's called the principle of oneness, the divine truth that there is no separation. There truly is no separation. Any idea that we're separate from the people, places, and things around us is simply an illusion. But it's an illusion we fall into very easily, isn't it? And when we do, when we forget our oneness, we fall into fear. We fall into fear. And why? I think it's because instead of facing our fear, we go in, I think the reason that we fall into fear is because we know that it's just too big for us to do it alone, right? It's just too big. If we truly are alone, we can't do it. And so we fall into fear. And instead of facing the fear and the illusion, we go into defense mode. That's our favorite strategy, right? It can look like controlling or depressed or angry or withdrawn. There's a multitude of reactions from simply forgetting the truth that we are one. Because in truth, there's nothing to defend against. There is no separation. Ernest Holmes in Can We Talk to God wrote this: "We should not separate life from living, spirit from matter, nor divine principle from universal creation. God is all in all. That is, God is and is in everything. All in all. God is and is in everything. So simple, and yet really hard to embody. So I have a little trick that I use in order to just kind of bring ideas like this into my heart a little deeper. I use a tangible item as a symbol. So here's one way of understanding oneness. A ribbon. Imagine that this ribbon is representing the allness of God, the isness of spirit. All the threads that make it up are the qualities, the essence of the divine, right? It's the eternal, the unlimited, the whole life of God, right here. Now, if I tie some knots in the ribbon, look at the relationship between the knots and the ribbon, right? Put a name to each of them. So here's Reverend Jerry, here's me, here's Alex, here's maybe your friend, yes. And look at they're each unique, right? They're each different, and yet they're made of the same thing. It's all part of the same God essence, the whole life of God. And even if I took a knot apart, so say the person dies. Yes, the form is gone, but the essence survives. We are not separate. We are not separate. It always is connected, absolutely connected eternally in life and in death. Get that? Just united in the divine life. And you know, the best news is no matter how often we might forget this, there's a part of us that remembers, that knows it. I call it our soul. Our soul remembers. And it is always calling us to a greater connection. Right? We have that innate desire. It drives us throughout our lives to connect. I recently came across a word that captures that idea. It comes from the South African culture, and the word is Ubuntu. Ubuntu. It's an African philosophy that can be summed up like this. I am what I am because of who we all are. I am what I am because of who we all are. Right? So there's a story of an anthropologist who was studying the habits and cultures of an African tribe. And as you might expect, the tribe children loved to follow him around and play games and see what he was doing, always so curious, right? And so one day he filled a basket full of candy and he put it at the foot of a tree. And he invited the children to line up, and he said, when I say now, run to the tree, and the first one who gets there gets all the candy. And the children were like, cool, okay. So they all lined up, and he said, now. And something interesting happened. They joined hands, linked arms, and ran together so that they all arrived at the exact same time. Then they split up the candy and munched away happily. But the anthropologist was very confused. He's like, well, why didn't one of you run faster to get all of the candy? And the children just looked at him, kind of confused themselves. And they said, well, Ubuntu, how could any one of us be happy if all of the others were sad? What a great idea. What a great thought. Ubuntu. It's a philosophy. And it recognizes that we can't exist as human beings in isolation. We are absolutely interconnected. And what we do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It affects the whole of humanity. Ubuntu, our essence as humans. It's the ribbon of the whole life of God that we share. There's another piece that connects us that I want to talk about today. And it's that heart-to-heart connection that I call compassionate presence. An example of it comes from Leo Biscaglia. He was once asked to judge a contest for the most caring child, and a little 4-year-old boy won. It turns out this child's next door neighbor was an elderly gentleman who had recently lost his wife. And one day the little boy saw the neighbor sitting on his porch crying. And so the boy went over and he just sat on his lap, and he sat with him for a while, for a good long while. And then eventually he came home. And his mother, who had witnessed this, asked him, what did you say to our neighbor? And the little boy said, oh, no, I didn't say anything. I just helped him cry. I just helped him cry. Yeah. That's compassionate presence. That's what that looks like. And children know this. 4-year-old boys know this. And you know what? We know this too. It's actually innate. It is a natural impulse. When I tell people I'm a hospice chaplain, I often get the same comments right off the bat. First they go, oh, that must be so depressing. That must be so emotionally draining. But after I describe the honor and the actual joy of walking with people on this sacred journey as they move through crisis and challenge, the next thing I hear is, oh, you must be so special. I could never do that. But you know what? You can. We all can. Maybe not as a chaplain, but certainly being that compassionate presence with people. We all have the capacity. It's because we're part of that compassionate connection, that ribbon, right? Compassionate presence is just walking alongside people in pain, just being with them exactly where they're at, not there to fix or solve anything. It's the process of staying engaged and present with a person as they move through their feelings, through their thoughts, around their self-inquiry, like the little boy, just helping them cry. Yeah. It's something that we can offer our friends, our coworkers, our family members, anybody who may be going through a rough time. Compassionate presence. And it's a way to open to the divine to unfold in new and dynamic ways. Because simply by being a safe and loving space of compassion for someone, answers are found, understandings are revealed, healing happens. Yeah. The Celtic tradition calls it an anamkara, a soul friend. It dates back to the early Celtic church. The anamkara was a person who acted as a teacher, a companion, a spiritual guide. And it said that with the anamkara, you could share your innermost self, your mind, your heart. Sounds like a practitioner to me. The Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donohue writes, in everyone's life, there is a great need for an anamkara, a soul friend, In this love, you are understood as you are, without mask or pretense. Where you are understood, you are at home. Right. I love that. Anam Cara. We all need a soul friend. And beyond that, we can all be that kind of compassionate presence for each other. That's what we're here to do. That is our soul's call. That is spirit's call. That is, again, the ribbon that connects us. I've been reading the Kitchen Table Wisdom by Rachel Naomi Remen. She defines compassionate presence as being of service to the wholeness of others. I like that, being of service to the wholeness of others. She says that serving makes us aware of our wholeness and its power. The wholeness in us serves the wholeness in others and the wholeness in life. The wholeness in you is the same as the wholeness in me. The same. She points out the difference between serving versus helping or fixing. She says there are three different ways of seeing life. When you help, you see life as weak. The helper may see others as weaker than they are, needier than they are. And people often feel this inequity. When you fix, you see life as broken. You see people as needing repair or as being defective. Again, that's felt also. But when you serve, you see life as whole. We serve life not because it is weak or broken, but because it's holy. It's holy, it's sacred. That's why we serve. Service recognizes that the nature of life is sacred, that life is a holy mystery to which we all belong. So from the perspective of service, we are all connected. Truly, all suffering is my suffering. All joy is like my joy. And most important is to realize that we serve with all of ourselves, right? Our hearts, our minds, and from all of our life experiences, even the not so pretty ones. Because the truth is, our limitations serve, our wounds serve, even our darkness can serve. My pain is the source of my compassion. My woundedness is the key to my empathy. It reminds me of the Rumi quote, "Don't turn away. Keep your gaze on the bandaged place. That's where the light enters you." Our wounds are where our light can emerge to connect with each other. Service as compassionate presence heals. It is our work to do. And here's one more thing that I've learned from my work as a hospice chaplain. Presence is enough. Compassionate presence is enough. I used to think it was all about, knowing the right words to say or doing the right things, knowing which things to do. I always thought I'd have to take one more class, one more training, read one more book. But you know what? Words, in fact, have nothing to do with it. I found that if I just stay in that heart space of compassionate presence, people hear exactly what they need to hear, almost no matter what words come out of my mouth. It's truly amazing. And it's because our compassionate presence is enough. It is enough. It's our soul-to-soul connection that binds us, that we hear and connect with. We are the ribbon. It is our heart, right? The Upanishads said it this way: the little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. The little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. I love that. Yes, that little space. So I'd like to ground us with an affirmation that we can use throughout the week. It goes like this: today I keep my heart open to see the oneness of all life and to be the compassionate presence in the world. So how about we say it together? Today I keep my heart open to see the oneness of all life and to be the compassionate presence in the world. And so that is my invitation to you this week. Keep your heart open. See the oneness that we all share, our connection, our ribbon, and be the compassionate presence in the world. So let's just close all of that in prayer, shall we? So I just invite you to close your eyes, settle in. Just settling into this sweet space within the heart that is as vast as the universe. This is the heart of love. So huge, bottomless, limitless. And breathing into that warm and gentle space, the cave of the heart, where the divine resides and abides. Knowing we are one with the divine life, it breathes us, holds us, supports us with infinite supply. The eternal life is our life now, always seeking a greater expression of its love, of its peace, of its wholeness. Recognizing that we are the heart, we are the hands, we are the love, the presence and the wholeness in this physical form. And we are here to do the good of God. God is the good that we do. So today we give of the warmth and gentleness that we are. We use our voice to speak our truth, knowing that the love of God flows out of us and spreads out to touch all hearts as it allows theirs to touch ours. That perfect connection. And so I'm just so grateful for this truth, for all that it is, all that I have, all that we are, all that we know. We are so blessed just to be blessings in this world. And so I release these words into the law, knowing that it is done, for we are one. And so it is, and so I let it be. Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much. You're still the teacher. You took me really so deep, and I'm sure you touched all of us in a whole new way at that compassionate presence. I loved it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.